In this GeoMapApp tutorial, we'll look at the Search Expedition data portal. In that portal, we can display the ship tracks for cruise expeditions that satisfy our search criteria. To load the portal, we go to the Portals menu and select Search Expedition Data. When the interface loads, we see that three things have happened. First, we see ship tracks in the map window, here. Beneath the map, we see information about each of the tracks displayed on the map. And over on the right, we see some control buttons that we'll explore in a little bit. Before we get to the search functionality, let's just investigate some of the basics of this interface. Using the cursor to select any of the tracks in the map will highlight the record for that track in the table below. For example, here we see that we selected a Ewing leg, and if we make the columns a bit wider, we can see more information. We see the name of the chief scientist. The date range shows that the cruise took place in 1991. And over on the right, we see columns that indicate which types of data are available online. In this case, we see that multi-beam data, single beam, and if we look at this column, magnetics and gravity data are all online. If we click the link in the URL column here, our web page appears and it contains more information and links for downloading data. In this particular case, to download data, we would scroll and click on the Sensor Data button, and in this window we select the data type of interest, and when we click the link we will be taken to the download page. Back in the portal interface, we can sort any of the columns simply by clicking on the column heading. For example, to sort on the start date, we click the start date heading, and if we scroll over in the right all the way to the top, we see that the first cruise listed is from 1954. Clicking the column heading once more will reverse the sort, and we see that cruises up until very recent ones are included. Similarly, we can sort on cruise ID by clicking the cruise ID column heading, like so. Another function of this tabular interface is the ability to select a record from the table at the bottom to illuminate the track in the map above. For example, selecting West 15 MV lights up the track over here near Central America. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of this interface is the ability to search the database holdings using a variety of search parameters. For this, we use the search functions over here in the right pane. We can perform the search using one parameter or even multiple parameters, and the parameters are typed in the text box here. If we wish to search using a particular type of data collected on a cruise, then we need to use the column headings that appear over in the right part of the table down at the bottom. However, we have more flexibility in choosing things like year or scientist name. For example, let's look for multi-beam and side-scan data collected by scientist Sherm Bloomer in the year 2001. For this, we go up to the text box window, and in this area we type our search parameter words, each separated by a comma. So here we type the words multibeam, comma, side scan, comma, Bloomer, comma, 2001. And because we're interested in the combination of multibeam and side scan data collected by that scientist in 2001, we select the AND operator. So only those records that satisfy those four search parameters will be returned. Next, we hit the search button. And in the table below, we see the one cruise, Cook 07 MV, in which all of those data types were collected in that year by that scientist. In the record, we immediately see that multibeam, side scan, and magnetics gravity data files are all available online. And we can zoom on the map to see more details of the track by going to the zoom button and zooming in. And here we see the details of the Cook 07 MV track line. To download data and to see other information about this particular cruise, we click the URL in the table at the bottom, and when the page loads, we can scroll to see information related to the cruise. For example, under sensor data, we have the links for downloading the data files. In this next example, we'll search the database holdings for any cruise collecting either seismic reflection data or seismic refraction data. For that, we go to the text box and type in our search parameters. Here, we've typed reflection, refraction. And because we're interested in any cruises that collected either of those particular data types, we'll select the OR operator. Then we hit the search button. We see in the table below that there's a long list of cruises collecting either seismic reflection or refraction data. And if we scroll to the right side of the table, we see that the seismic reflection data here is online, and scrolling down, we see a number of cruises here for which seismic refraction data is also available. Lastly, we can reset the search parameters by clicking the Reset button here, and Help is available by clicking the Help button. More information on GeoMapApp can be found at www.geomapapp.org.